want to talk to you about Frederick Chafee Nash. He was a wonderful man that was born in Iowa. His family came from Marshalltown, Iowa, just like the Woodbury brothers who settled Altadena. Instead of going to Altadena, they went to Pasadena, where they built the first general store. It was a small wooden store, but there was only that one to begin with in Pasadena. He was educated in Pasadena schools, and after graduating college, he went back to the store which was established in 1889 by his father and his uncle. They called it the Nash Brothers store. He was a very hard worker. His father and his uncle wanted to retire, so they sold their interest in the store to Fred. In 1921, Fred had developed the store to a much larger store, so they, of course, had to move. So they moved to Colorado in Pasadena. He was a great innovator. In fact, he was one of the very first people to imagine off-street parking. Can you imagine going shopping these days and not having a place to park in a parking lot? He made it possible for more shoppers to shop at the same time. Another thing that he did was put pneumatic tubes in so that the clerks could send the business transaction up to the office and back. Another thing is he organized truck deliveries. I think he must have been the first person to do that. He wanted to economize on fuel and time, and people were very, very pleased. He changed the name of the store to F.C. Nash and Company, and it continued to build. He was also very active in community service. In fact, he was one of the founding members of the Pasadena Kiwanis Club, the very same organization that he had asked if for one of their first projects they could light Christmas Tree Lane. That was an overwhelming task, you know. It had never been done before. So he convinced them that he could do it, and they made him the chair of the committee. He was praised by his competition for being very ethical. One of the managers of another department store said, "He built a climate of business ethics that has made for the friendly competition in the city." But he spent time teaching his employees how important it was to interact positively with their customers. He said, "Treat each customer as an invited guest." He also said, "The character of our store will always be determined by our own attitude toward our customer." In 1928, he moved to Altadena to this beautiful home that they had built for them, he and his wife. And they continued having meetings and gatherings of civic groups, especially Altadena now, because after all, Christmas Tree Lane was his baby. He was an organizer, he was a dreamer, and he was a doer. During World War II, he was in charge of the USO in Pasadena. He was also, during these years and after, president of the Merchants Association, vice president of the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce, a trustee at Pasadena Presbyterian Church, and a member of the board of Rubio Land and Water Company. In 1956, Pasadena withdrew the financial support of Christmas Tree Lane lighting. The residents of Altadena were very concerned. Supervisor Warren Dorn said, "I think you should get everybody together in Altadena for a meeting and figure out what you want to do. Get a committee together, and by the way, I think you should ask Fred Nash to be in charge of that committee." So they did. And because of that committee, and because of the help of all of Altadena, Christmas Tree Lane Association was formed.